Hello, students. My name is Stephanie. One fun fact about me is I enjoy reading self-love poetry books in my spare time. Luckily, in this last section of the session, we'll be focusing on self-love, self-care, and how both go hand in hand with healthy relationships. Let's get those writing utensils and paper ready and hope you enjoy this section. So before we dive into material, use 2 minutes to think to yourself and ask yourself this question. What does self-love mean to me? Make sure to keep what you have in mind as we explore into the concept of self-love. Okay, so I hope everyone were able to answer what self-love means to you. So now we'll be diving into what is self-love. So you must be wondering, what is self-love? According to the BBR Foundation, self-love means to have high regard for your own well-being, happiness, and taking care of yourself first. So let's take a pause and watch this video of someone who is practicing self-love and coming to their own realization about self-love. Let me know in the chat below if you know which social media platform this specific video is from. Hint, hint. The social media app is similar to the sound we will describe of a clock. So again, let's first watch the video and then feel free to go in the chat and guess what social media platform this video would be from.
I think everybody needs to hear this. If you shift your focus towards yourself instead of a person who broke you, you'll realize that all along you had the power to choose happiness by simply walking away. Be there for yourself. Choose yourself. Period.
So again, be there for yourself. Choose yourself. These are most important things when it comes to practicing self-love on your own. So you must be wondering, how can you practice self-love on your own? So there are multiple ways on how to practice self-love, but also keep in mind, these are only a few practices. There's many more that could go into practicing self-love on your own. So the multiple ways are being mindful, acting on what you need instead of what you want, practicing good self-care, setting boundaries, surrounding yourself with positive people, and forgiving yourself. So I'll be touching on some that were stated on the slide. So you must be wondering, act on what you need rather than what you want. Well, as we all know, everyone loves nice things, but it feels so good and exciting when you need something and you stay strong and move forward in life. By staying focused on what you need, you turn away from bad behaviors such as keeping stuck into the past and lessening your self-love, which can get you in a lot of trouble. Forgiving yourself. Well, before we get into that, let's go to your reaction button and press the thumbs up reaction if you ever heard of this statement. You are your own worst critic. So I'll wait a few seconds and let's see who has their thumbs up reaction. Okay, so it may be few, it may be many, but I know I can say I am my own worst critic. We can all be so hard on ourselves. The downside of taking responsibility for our actions is actually punishing ourselves too much for mistakes when we should be learning and growing. You have to accept your mistakes before you can truly love yourself. No one is perfect, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. Try practicing being less hard on yourself when it comes to making a mistake. Keep in mind, there are no failures. If you have learned and grown from your mistakes, then those are the true lessons you learn. So again, keep that in mind. And then again, we will be learning so much more. So let's get into the next slide. So now that we talked about self-love and how to practice self-love, let's get into learning more about self-care. Well, according to the Oxford Dictionary, self-care is playing a daily role on taking care of yourself, not only physically and mentally, in order to reduce stress in your life. So before we dive into even more material, let's take 2 minutes to think to yourself and state at least 1 or 2 examples you would personally do for your own self-care. Once you're done thinking to yourself, make sure to utilize the chat function down below and type out your response. Okay, so I hope everyone was able to provide 1 or 2 things you could do to benefit your self-care. So now we'll be getting into how can you practice self-care on your own. Well, there are 7 pillars of self-care: knowledge and health literacy, mental well-being, physical activity, healthy eating, risk avoidance, good hygiene, and rational use of products and services. So I'll be touching on some. So knowledge and health literacy. Well, it's to obtain, process, and understand basic health information on services in order to make the best health decisions for you. Good hygiene is washing your hands daily, brushing your teeth, cleaning your food before you cook, are one of the many ways that you can practice good hygiene. Lastly, I'll be touching on rational use of products and services. That means you have to be responsible about your medicine intake. Keep in mind, you are all high school students. Your parents are responsible for your insurance, but there will be a point where you would have to take responsibility when it comes to making your own health decisions, knowing how much medicine intake that is best for your health. And again, those that I've mentioned are only some of the many ways you can practice self-care on your own. So before we dive into this slide, let me ask you this question. What is the most important thing when it comes to self-love and self-care? I'll give everybody a second. Well, how do we practice self-love and self-care? Well, it's important that you only first take care of yourself and also love yourself first. Both of these things are very important when it comes to self-love and self-care. And this all ties into how do self-love and self-care relate to healthy relationships? Well, in order to have a healthy relationship, you must love yourself first. You must take care of yourself first in order to implement another person's needs on top of your own. So in conclusion, through the whole lesson, you explored through a series of topics that all relate to healthy relationships. These are some ways you can personally improve to build your strong relationships, such as 1, maintaining independence, 2, have your own group of friends, 3, pursue a personal hobby, and 4, put effort into improving your relationship. All 4 things can personally improve you, and not only you, but to build stronger relationships within your personal life. So let's get into our final thoughts. So, number 1, relationships will always be in your life. 2, there are key things in a relationship, such as working together, trusting one another, and respecting each other. 3, showing respect to oneself and your partner is key in a healthy relationship. 4, sexual harm unfortunately does exist. If you think you're in harm, contact an adult you trust. Number 5, understanding the differences of a healthy relationship versus an unhealthy relationship is very important. And number 6, it's important to love yourself in order to maintain a healthy relationship. So I hope everyone enjoyed this session about healthy relationships, and I hope you took a lot from this session. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you.